Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UKEL. We're back for our final game of the night between Mythos and NSG. I'm still Viperoom, but we've had a little bit of a switcheroo. It was past the Sarge's bedtime, so we've had to send him off to bed. And we've got Darksoul back in for the final game. I'm going to move into Colorcast because my tier list proves that I know everything about League of Legends. Darksoul, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I wasn't expecting to be back in for the final game, but due to some technical difficulties, I think on Sarge's end, I've been roped back in for the final game, but it should be a pretty good game ahead of us, NSG versus Mythos.
It's going to be exciting. This is the final game of the night. We've had three very interesting games for a number of different reasons, and these two rosters are two that are but quite dear to my heart, especially, and yours as well, actually, in that we've got this Mythos roster that was built by Reclamation, coming out of the UKLC, now coaching UKEL, and it's a completely unknown roster that we don't know what these guys are going to be capable of. And for NSG as well, they've picked up a lot of talent coming out of the Square One Champions League, which we of course have both been casting for the past year, so some familiar names in that one. And these two rosters, I have no idea what to expect from them, and I want to see what these guys bring out in this first game.
Well, I think it's quite nice to be brought back in for this game, especially since there is, the Irish lads on the team of NSG, so you have to bring in the Irish guy back in for this game.
Yeah.
And, I think there are some unknown quantities from both these sides, even though we do know some of these familiar names. I think that in week one, there's quite a lot that can happen, since you can try these new comps, you can try these new strategies that mightn't necessarily work out, but it won't go against you if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, of course, with this game one, of course, you can come in, and it's also a great time to use these strategies where people might not know that you've got these pocket picks, these champions that you're very, very good at. Of course, some people, like you've got Vayne God, you can kind of guess what his good champion is, or his best champion is.
Is it Caitlyn? I think it's Caitlyn.
He's actually a massive Jinx main, I'll have you know.
I think so.
He's, with stuff like this where there are pocket picks that other teams might not have caught during their scouting of you, there are ways that you play the game which after a few scrims people might not have picked up yet, and as we go through, the meta of the tournament will start to develop, and you'll start to see people play in a more regimented style, right? You'll have, yes, you'll still have teams that are going to go full front, ARAM all game every game, but there's going to be a lot more, we know that these guys pick Orianna, so we're going to ban it every game. Or we've seen how these guys play with their jungle support duo, we're going to counteract that. But right now, there's not really that much information to go on, and we don't know how much these teams have scrimmed each other. They could be working under a lot of information, but I imagine it's going to be much less than once they've gone through 6-7 weeks of this tournament.
But at least Vayne God does have Vayne in his name, so you have to give the respect ban of the Vayne over towards him. We have seen a couple of times, as you said, through SQ1 letting the Vayne through, and it has not really gone well for the team that has decided to let that Vayne through. He is surprisingly pretty good at Vayne, as the name would have you suggest. But I would like to see a couple of the more meta picks actually come through. We have seen Senna and Aphelios being banned away. Some MF has been played throughout the day as well. So I'd like to see some of the teams actually adapt to the meta that has been emerging. Maybe ban away the Braum if you want to pick up the MF, or go for something else that shows that you're actually adapting rather than just letting the other team dictate the pace of the draft.
Yeah, we're going to need to wait and see how these two teams go in this final draft. We are getting there as soon as possible, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, we know we're running a little bit behind tonight just because that third game was quite a long one, but we are going to be jumping into Champ Select now. We've got NSG over on the blue side, Mythos on the red with their coaches as well. Going to be helping out in this one in terms of what they're going to be picking and banning. And last game, we saw some interesting drafts with some champions that we haven't necessarily seen before. Let's see how this one goes.
Well, first few bans are coming out, the Talia and the Kiana, followed by the Akali and the Aurelia. Some very powerful picks being taken off the table, and they're focusing on the top lane and the jungle.
Yeah, we see the Akali, very, very strong champion, gets banned a lot in professional play, so you don't really want to have to deal with that one. We saw the Aurelia in the first game of the night as well, and Doctor was saying it did very, very well while the Aurelia didn't win the game, from memory. The champion looked very, very strong in those matchups. The Misfortune being banned away from Mythos, one of the strongest marksmen on this patch, and we've seen 2 games in a row. Players have very good runs on this.
Yep, Rumble will be taken off the table as well. Another meta pick for the top lane, bringing some much needed AP to a team. But Senna will be the first pick, going for Vanguard.
Yeah, could well be going to Old Spooks as well. You've got to imagine it'll be Vanguard because that's where we're seeing Senna being picked up the most. Very strong marksman pick, could do a lot of damage, but can be flexible, can go down into that support role, so not giving away too much. NSG, but Mythos, what's going to be the response? You've got some strong power picks left open. The Nautilus is going to be the first one locked in. Very nice pick. Will be going to that bot lane, you've got to imagine. Decent into center as well, can lock her down for a very long time. And the Aphelios, we could be an option. We haven't yet seen it because it's been banned away and contested, showing Vanguard that you know about his champion pick. But it's going to be the Lucian being picked up. That is a flexible pick, which isn't something we get to say too often.
Yeah, it can go top, can go mid, can go AD carry, but generally we do see it go towards that mid lane if it is being used as a flex pick. Earlier on in the day, we did see the Lucian in the AD carry position. It does do pretty well into the Senna from what we've seen. Just hovering the Vayne, showing that it is available if they want to pick that up, but it will be the Cassiopeia instead.
Yeah, Cassiopeia going to be locked in down for that mid lane. Which I mean, that is very good. I thought the Cassiopeia was going to be good in the bot lane with the the Nami changes. However, it didn't really prove to be the case, which is, you know, disappointing, but it's still a very strong pickup in that mid lane, where you've got to imagine it will be placed. Now going to see the Olaf being locked in for Shawsong. We saw him play a decent amount in the Proving Grounds, a nice aggressive jungler, and the ability to skirmish and fight in those early engagements around objectives, Dragon, Rift Herald, around those Skull Crabs is so powerful at the moment, and Olaf's definitely a champion that could do that.
It's interesting that they decided to pick the Olaf into the J4. Usually we see a lot of teams picking up the J4 kind of as a response to the Olaf, especially since he can lock him in the Cataclysm, and there's pretty much nothing he can do apart from Flash if he has the Flash available. So interesting to see the priority on that Olaf since J4 was already locked in for NSG. Also, there is a little bit more flexibility to NSG comp if they want to go with that Senna towards all spooks in the support position, and that Cassiopeia can also flex.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility in this NSG roster. They haven't shown too much. Mythos, you've got to imagine, has shown a little bit more. Yes, you can make the arguments Nautilus, Olaf could go top. You could say that Java 4 could go top, but
I don't think we're going to be that
it's unlikely for that to
memey.
happen.
Yeah.
In the first game, yeah, we're going to see something that might be a little bit off the wall, but probably not. Let's flex every champion to roles that they're not great in at the moment. We're going to see the Soraka and thank you for the Soraka ban, Carl. Thank you. Last game, we saw the Soraka
Chicken
top.
would be the one that would pick that up.
I mean, maybe. It's more just I don't want to see it at all. We've got the Braum being taken away as well. And Aatrox actually being locked in. Hopefully, that could well be a... No, it's not Proxy. That's just going to be the pickup in that top lane. And I mean that we don't get to see hilarious amounts of, but it's pretty decent up in that top side.
Yeah, we have been seeing it quite a decent amount recently. It's a nice pickup into a Mordekaiser. If a Mordekaiser is in the game, generally see a lot of Aatrox being picked into that. It plays relatively well into the GP, which has just been picked up too. So it's not a bad pick, but it will struggle later on in the game when GP starts to come online and starts to get that hyper scaling online as well. If Aatrox can't land his Darkened Blades.
The Hover Vayne just being there, but it is going to be the Gangplank locked in for the top side, and it's going to be that Tom Kench in the bot side. The safest lane known to man, send a Tom Kench down there. You've got to imagine with Gangplank going up towards the top, what will be the answer? What will be the response? It's going to be the mid lane pickup has been left to last.
What would you like to see? A Fizz? I mean, they're hovering a Fizz. It's been a long time since I've ever seen a Fizz priority.
I don't hate it. I don't think this will be the lock. Okay, do you know what? Fizz. Yeah, Fizz.
It can be
Fizz.
A placeholder for all we know.
It could well be. It looks like these picks are correct though, so Fizz is going to be locked in. I don't hate the Fizz here, honestly. Cassiopeia can do a decent amount of damage to him, but Fizz is very tricky to get onto, and he's difficult to gank. He does a lot of damage, and this is throwing down a marker saying, look, I'm going to pick an assassin that doesn't see much play, and I'm going to style on you. And yes, he is slippery, he's difficult to get onto, but he only has a finite amount of dashes and going up invulnerable. And if he gets hit by one bit of CC, he's going to explode. So
yeah, but if
very,
he
very
can
careful.
Playful Trickster, the ultimate from Disco Dano, then he can just jump onto him, chum the waters, use his troll pole. Like he just does a deceptively large amount of damage as well, and it looks like he's going for the ignite.
Yeah, just wants to get in and get the kill. Of course, we might see if that changes with the 0 seconds, as this time we just switch over. But you can see NSG 2 teleports with the barrier, almost got caught out again. But yeah, the Fizz is an interesting pickup, and don't think it's bad picking into Cassiopeia at all. If you can be dodging those ultimates and even sliding through to behind her when the ultimate's going off,
Yeah.
you're going to be doing a lot of great work. We're going to have to see how Forshaw can deal with this, because he's on that Olaf. Cassiopeia, not the hardest person to gank, not the most mobile in the game. Obviously can't buy boots or anything, because snakes don't have feet. So she's going to be quite immobile and quite easy to gank for quite a long time. So if Forshaw can get in there and even see roams from the Nautilus as well, you can really shut down this Cassiopeia. And yes, they're both... The Nautilus and the Fizz can be quite dash dependent, which is obviously not great when you're going into a Cassiopeia, who can just ground you, but I don't fully know how this matchup's going to go. Interested to see how it does develop. Looking at the bot side more, we've got the Nautilus and the Lucian, something that could be very, very aggressive, and you can just see NSG were like, no. We don't want to... We're not about that life. We're just going to back away and survive and sustain. And now we're jumping straight into game.
Does it feel to you like as if they just have so much in the basket of we want to scale? They have Vanguard on a Senna, Disco Dano on a Cassiopeia, and then they have a GP in the top side. It just feels like as if they go all in onto the scaling, whereas on the side of London, on the side of Mythos, they have the Lucian, which is great early game.
Pause.
EU production.
It's not. It's EU life right now. Yes. So we are into game technically with NSG on the blue side, Mythos on the red. Don't worry about the names at the top of the game. They will be corrected, I'm sure. It gives us a little bit of time to talk through these compositions. And as two play-by-plays, as I'm flexing. We joked actually before the broadcast a couple of days ago. We were talking about who was going to cast. Me and I were like, we could just double play-by-play.
Double play-by-play it. Yeah, we just take it in turns every second team play.
we were like, haha, wouldn't that be funny? And then here we are, fourth game of the day, doing exactly that. So, good time. But I'm interested to give my analysis. As a player who has peaked Plat 4, I will be fond of knowledge on all things League of Legends, but it's always the case of, okay, I've watched a lot with Doctor, who most of you will have enjoyed earlier today. Lovely lad. Talked a lot about him with like how the meta is and how the game is, and he says, look, it's just jungle difference, and he says it every other sentence. But in a game like this...
He actually said it about 4 times in one game earlier today.
Goodness me, does he? But
he did say it a lot, yeah, jungle difference.
Well, he's a jungler, he's been doing it for, however long, but in the early game, it is the case of what are the junglers going to be doing, how are they going to respond, because barring any kind of massive outplay individually, which at UKEL we can't discount, there aren't really lanes that are going to be looking to get massive amount of, like, yes, this Aatrox is definitely going to kill this Gangplank. Gangplank is much weaker, but should be able to stay relatively safe. You've got the same kind of thing in the bot lane where the Lucian Nautilus are very aggressive, but Tom, Kench, and Senna are very anti-aggressive. And it's going to be a case of, can they... no one's going to be doing too much of the old killing in lane early without jungler's assistance.
But you have 2 early game junglers, Unknown Sweet on the J4 and then Foreshore on the Olaf. Olaf, known for being a really good jungler early on. You don't really want to be skirmishing with him or trying to 1v1 him because of, his passive health regeneration and also extra damage the lower health he is. So it will be a little harder for Unknown Sweet if he does manage to run into Foreshore earlier on in the game. But it does mean that they're going to be very gank heavy as well.
Yeah, so we're just going to be watching how this game begins to develop. Standard bot side starts for both of these junglers. J4 moved down to the Krugs, Olaf onto that Gromp, which would suggest we're probably going to see either an early play bot or we're going to see them just trying to go for that full clear. And we have seen a J4 attempt the Alcove play. We saw it last game. Didn't achieve anything at all, just burst his own support slash, which not really what you're going for when you do look for a gank, but right now, both junglers moving back towards that top side. We're not going to see any play bot, and don't really blame either team because it's not easy to gank a Senna Tahm Kench, and without a decent amount of CC landing, it's not easy to gank for a Senna Tahm Kench.
It's a little bit easier when you focus the Tahm Kench himself, but with heal flash, it will be pretty tough thing to ask. Even with the amount of CC that a Nautilus can really bring to the lane, you just really need to burn everything to try and just lock down the Tahm Kench, and then you have just the ability to get away just pretty easily. Guardian also helping them out in terms of damage negation.
Yeah, that is kind of, that little engagement is kind of what we'd expect to see as a little bit of damage coming in from Fizz. Wants to just stamp a bit of authority there, but the Nautilus can look to engage and has a lot of CC going on to Tahm Kench. But not really going to be able to
keep them pretty healthy.
Yeah, not going to be able to do too much to him, and you've got to whittle him down a little bit because the grey health at the early levels isn't healing all that much, and Tahm Kench is really not that beefy in the early stage. So as you say, killing and focusing on the Tahm Kench means that you can get some decent plays on.
Yeah, we'll go in, force the flash and the heal already. First blood to the Lucian. But in comes Unknown Swede, has the flag and drag available, in comes the teleport as well just to try and dissuade them. They'll manage to get the first blood and get out clean.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying. Focus that Tahm Kench, has to use both the summoners, but still goes down in the 2v2. So, excellent play there from Mythos. They do need to get this lane snowballing a little bit just to give themselves some dominance, allow them to scale up equally to the Senna and the Tahm Kench for those long winter months where you're not going to be able to kill that bot lane without assistance. And Diaku has to teleport down to make sure that nothing else goes on though, so he's going to be losing out a bit of farm, gives Gangplank precious time alone, and with Gangplank, you want to be farming up and getting to that stage where you're just going to 1v5, because right now, early game, he's not going to be doing that, so giving him free time with the wave, uncontested CS is what Gangplank lives for in the first 15-20 minutes of the game, and you've just allowed that in order to save your bot lane.
But Gangplank was already zoning Diaku away from this wave in the top side, using the parlay and then using his passive in the auto attacks, so it was going a little bit. I'll hold that for a second, as Disco Dano's a lot of trouble here. Yep, we'll hook. And this could be the second blood as well. Force the flash away, throws down the miasma just to try and get some damage back. Use the barrier and his flash, but he gets out alive.
Yeah, having to force those, but now you know if you're the Olaf, this is a very gankable lane. There's no defensive summoners. There's no summoners left for the Cassiopeia. She's not going to be particularly speedy. I'm Olaf, and my Fizz still has Ignite and Flash available, so I expect to see Force Shoal putting the pressure down in that mid lane, maybe looking to grab that and then move towards the Dragon. Ocean Drake's the first one up, so a little bit of sustain's not bad, but he's going pretty aggressive.
Yeah, goes in with the Dragon Blade, hits it twice, but has a sustain with the oranges. Diaku quite low on health himself.
Needs to be careful, honestly.
Yeah, you can just hit a couple of parlays and that's a dead Aatrox.
Yeah, it's... The Aatrox as well, you expect to lose this matchup early game, but looking at the farm, having that free time is really looking good for him, and teleport now down towards that bot side just to make sure that Mythos don't get any damage, any plates off that tower, but for sure, he started up the Dragon.
Yeah, it will be an Ocean Drake, but J4 is nearby. If he wants to try and contest this, we'll have to just jump on in, try and get that smite. Has the flag down, but connects with the dredge line. Allspook's in a lot of trouble. He's very low on health, but for sure has to flash away. He almost goes down on the side. Disco Dano is also in a fight, and he'll be taken out by the Fizz. And that's 2 kills now over to Mythos, looking for a third. They'll find it.
The turnaround!
Unknown Sweet now in a little bit of trouble himself, as the Fizz is onto him. Now in a little bit of trouble himself, as the Fizz is on.
Yeah, that's a very, very nice play there from Mythos. It looked really, really bad for them. Vanguard gets a nice start off onto 3 members of Mythos, and they're all very, very low. Olaf had to flash away, and then the fight just turned completely on its head. We do see Dano getting 2v1'd up by the Fizz, and he going down, and then the rest of the team from Mythos were able to collapse. They pick up the dragon. This is what we're going to see from the replay. So keep an eye on the health bars of people from Mythos. You see this really, really nice 3-man route as they're all in a perfect line to get the damage off from Vayngod. Flash away from Foreshore, gets saved by the heal. But then Vayngod just overextends a little bit, and Laue is able to get involved. You can see on the backline as well, the 2v1, Fizz managing to get the kill there and then chasing away J4, and it's just a clean-up job from the rest of the members of Mythos. On those Swede, not in too much pressure, there's no Fizz ult or anything like that, so not going to be going down, but Mythos turned what looked like a very bad situation into a very good one. They pick up the 3 kills and the objective.
Yep, they get the objective, and they have now 1,500 extra gold in their pockets. 2-0 for the Lucian, sitting pretty there, and 1-0 for the Fizz too. So far, if you're Mythos, you're feeling pretty good about this game.
I'm feeling pretty good about this game because of my predictions personally, because I've got one wrong today, but most of the casters have got one wrong today.
Yes.
So in fact, I don't think no casters have got this day perfect. Fun fact.
Unless no one's managed to get it perfect, but it's week 1. I'm expecting to get next week pretty perfect.
Yeah, I'm not, but Governor just copied my predictions, which I find very insulting.
copied mine as well, so you know.
Outrageous. And then no one predicted. I think actually Scrivmite predicted the peak win, so he's clearly an oracle, but he did not predict Bulldog. So the Fool, as we do see, Diaku's now down in that bot side because Rift Herald is up. You want to have your 2-man up there, as you can see, well demonstrated by Mythos. They're going to be able to get onto that objective, get the big bag of gold from one of the lanes once it's taken down. There's not much of a contest as Diaku, though. He might be in trouble.
Yeah, this is pretty telegraphed. He has his ultimate available as well if he needs the extra movement speed. We'll miss the Infernal Chains, but Disco Dano got a little pressure for his top laner. I don't think he really needed it, but it's a good map rotation anyway.
Yeah, it's decent play from Mythos. They do get the objective as the Rift Herald. They don't lose anyone for it, and that's all you can really ask for a macro play, so well played by them. NSG need to be a bit careful, though. Imported Chicken probably doesn't win these 1v1s, even though he's got level advantage on the Aatrox. He's still be in a lot of trouble, so needs to be careful. I might be proved wrong on those.
Yeah, if he keeps taking the Darkened Blade to the face, he'll just be minced up. But if he can manage to kind of dance around the Q from the Aatrox, then he'll actually start to be able to 1v1 him.
Yeah, it's just a case of waiting. Forshore's going to drop that Rift Herald down mid to give the gold over to Potet Salat, I should say, which is probably a different language for potato salad. I don't do languages, though. It's not really an engage off onto Disco Dano, but that's a lot of gold going into the pockets of Foreshore and the Fizz.
Yeah, it's a good use of the Rift Herald at that pre-14-minute mark. Can manage to pick up the next Rift Herald as well, and also use it maybe to help crack open this mid lane, or use it in the top side. We see that quite frequently as well. Both bot laners still on that rotation. 1 minute 29 seconds until the next Drake. It will be the Mountain Drake, which will help out with these neutral objectives.
Yeah, we'll keep you a little bit healthier, and means we're not going to see a Mountain Rift spawning up. It's going to be either Infernal or Cloud, so going to have to keep your eyes on that one when the objective does spawn up. I know Sweet looking towards that top side, but there's no one there, and this is a great vision coming in. Thank you very much, observers, for pointing that one out. You do see Mythos, they've got this vision control. There's basically no vision past the river for NSG. They've got one in the river, and that's it. Everything else is defensive wards around that top side from when they were fighting over Rift Herald needed the way out, and the dominance from Mythos is showing in the vision line because they're able to get the vision further forward to control these objectives, and you need vision to contest these objectives. So,
yeah, but look at this Aatrox. He's going in 1 versus 3, locked in the Cataclysm. Already used his flash. Will be hit by the Sun ultimate, but one more auto attack will secure him for Unknown Swede.
Very
That's
well
just
played.
the thing. He had no vision, but he went in thinking that it was just the Senna and the Tam Kench. Unknown Swede was off to the side and just gave up his life for no reason.
And even then, like, I was just praising the vision from Mythos, and then he makes a play that he doesn't have knowledge of where some of the players are on the map, still goes in. Furthermore, you shouldn't probably be engaging that 2v1. I don't know if you win it. as the Aatrox into the center Tahm Kench, or even if you get that much off it. Yes, you're trying to relieve pressure, but now we're going to see a bit of a tower race coming down, but I think it's going to be NSG who have the advantage on this one. There's not going to be any response from either team in time to stop too much damage going down, but NSG should be able to pick this one up top before Krislep gets the one in the bot.
Yeah, you have the passive from Dilution, and he's just going to focus the minions as well, so I think it will go over to NSG, actually. Daku playing Gatekeeper here, flash forward with the Chum the Waters. Will land onto the Tahm Kench, though you're onto the Senna. Vanguard has to flash away. He is ignited. Goes forward with the Proto Belt. Now this is a 4 versus 2. Can they win it? Can they get any kills back for Mythos? Daku so low on health right now, has to try and get away. The Dark Blade is not quite enough, as Potato is going to be left into 1 versus 4. He is just slow, but will be able to get the Playful Trickster to safety.
We'll be able to, and the tower did go down on that bot side. They did get Dragon as well, Mythos, and now it looks like For Sure trying to get some kills onto the stake, but has to flash away.
It has to flash away, even with the Ragnarok. You can't just walk up to a level 9 Cassiopeia like that.
No, you can't, and yeah, Ragnarok will still be getting CC'd, but it means you're going to be taking a ton of damage, and I think he worked that one out. He got in, was like, yes, you're not going to CC me, and then lost 3/4 of his health and was like, oh no, this is terrible, and had to flash away. But NSG, they've turned it on in recent times, and look, this is Daku trying to just deny the tower going down, trying to save first tower for his bot side, but he's on his own. Padet Salat is coming in from behind. You think, okay, this is a 3v2, but the tower is gone before the Fizz arrives. Yes, he lands the Chum the Waters onto the Tahm Kench, but that's not a priority target. They ignore him. Going on to Vanguard, teleporting from Imported Chicken is key, as he's now able to just make sure the fight isn't going to be re-engaged. And it's a 4v2 now. Daku trying to escape. Fizz is very, very slippery. Not going to be able to catch him out, but will be able to pick up the Aatrox. And Mythos, after a very, very strong early game, Daku needs to tighten up in that top side, because he's given over 2 deaths and given NSG a way back into this one.
Yeah, narrowing the gold lead now. Only about 800 gold in favor of Mythos, although they do have the 2 Drakes, the Ocean Drake and a Mountain Drake. That Mountain Drake was taken during that play towards the top side, so a lot of objective control for Sure so far in this game.
Yeah, we saw this again in Proving Grounds. He was able to come in and take objectives, and he adapted very, very well to the change, because of course we did that from Season 9 to pre-season and Season 10. Was able to take up these neutral objectives, and yes, we've seen maybe a little bit questionable decision-making on some of the ganks with the Cassiopeia play as well, but it's very, very capable, and there's a reason why some people are saying that he's one of the best junglers in this tournament, myself included, but we don't read too much into what I say. Because he's just so capable of getting his team leads, and dragons we've seen are very, very important in this patch. If you can get Dragon Soul, you pretty much win the game, and Mythos, they're already halfway there, and it's only 14 minutes in.
Yep, 2 minutes or thereabouts until the next Drake. It will be a Cloud Drake, so that means it will be the Cloud Soul, which will help with ultimate cooldowns. Unknown Sweep will be cut out by the Dredge line, goes forward, flag and drag to safety, but the Senate ultimate will keep him alive with the shield. As the culling comes out, he'll have to dash away. Thank God, looking for more, but we'll be able to find it.
No, going to be forced away, but you can see there's damage on both sides right now, and another fight is in the offing.
Yeah, flag and drag, he Ragnaroks, but he's locked into the Cataclysm, goes golden just by a little bit of time as Miasma goes down. The heal from the Lucian, just to keep them alive a little bit longer. Slab off to the side, Chum the Waters will connect onto the Tahm Kench once again, but he picks off Vanguard. He's looking for the 1 versus 2, now the rest of the team is there, but on the side, Unknown Sweet has the flag and drag. Might be able to find something, but Disco Dano, even through the barrier, he will be cut down.
The members of Mythos just stayed together so well. You could see the J4, he was forced out of the fight on the backline, and then just sat around, and you think, okay, this is the flank, this is on. But there was never a good opportunity for him to come in. He was less than half health, so he was getting killed unless he was catching 1, maybe 2 members. But the fact that everyone stayed together from Mythos, they forced their teamfight gauntlet through, and they managed to pick up kills. They managed to pick up the second Rift Herald. Gone on to the Nautilus, you'll have to see where that one's dropped. No plates, obviously, because that's the way it's designed, but can they get a decent amount of damage, break open this? You've got to imagine top tower to open up the map and allow them to move in, get deep vision into the jungle, and dominate these neutral objectives. Because look at this, Unknown Swede, just keep your eyes on him. He goes very, very low instantly and is forced away. You can see he's kept members away. Lawai and For Sure aren't able to continue the fight right now, but then the fight just starts to turn. Potet Salat with a very, very nice flank off, and People are just being decimated. Vanguard goes down, but Unknown Swede, he can't do anything because everyone's just standing directly on top of each other. And yes, you can look to get a nice knock-up onto one or two members, but after that, it's going to turn and kill you. And there, you can just see he decides, okay, well, that didn't come off. Time to recall.
Yeah, I think he could have gotten the kill onto the Fizz, but as you said, he would just have given up his life anyway, so you may as well back away, take the loss, and try and mitigate the loss as much as you can, but try and get a little bit of vision set up for this next Drake.
Bit of a death brush going on there, for sure.
A little bit,
and
yeah.
Lauai. But Dragon's going to be started up. Again, it's going to be Mythos starting this one up, and they've got the vision control. Yes, you can see NSG trying to put some down, but unable to get too much vision. They now know that there are members sitting around there, and they've got a vision of Diaku and Chryslet, but the Dragon, you've got to imagine, will be taken down pretty quickly if they decide to focus on it.
Drag it out. Has the flash available. I mean, has the smite available. Will not be stolen away. Goes golden. The Cataclysm moves through. Unknown Swede locked in the middle of the rest of the enemy team, and he'll go down. For sure picks that up. The Dragon Blade onto 3. Will save by the Devour. Spook's gonna try and get himself away as well, but the Dragon Blade will reconnect. Doesn't land the second. Miasma just to buy a little bit of space. He will manage to get away.
Yeah, will be enough space to get his team out. They do lose Unknown Swede as he dived forward, and that's kind of the risk when you're on Java 4 and your team's behind, because you do look for those engages, but there's not really anyone who can follow up easily. You've got Gangplank, you've got Cassiopeia, Senna, and Tom Genchu. None of those are going to be able to dive into the backline with you, and if you're ahead, that's fine. You can survive, hold them up as long as you want. Later game, same kind of deal. But right now, you're a little bit behind as a team. You're 400 behind your jungle opponent, and you're just going to get melted through, which means that, yes, your engage can be as brilliant as you want, but if you're 4v1 in the backline and the rest of your team can't get through, it's curtains. And they lose the Dragon. That's free already for Mythos. They could be looking for a very early soul, and if they can do that, then the Elder Drake becomes a massive objective on the map, and they get a massive boost in power. And it's not like they need it. They're already pretty far ahead.
Yep, good to Salad. Onto Imported Chicken. He uses the ultimate, but have to assume that he's just going to go down here, Pedro Salad. Quite low on health. We'll decide just to back away, not going to bite off more than they can chew, and Imported Chicken will just walk away.
Yeah, it's going to stroll away. He doesn't want to be losing out too much. Very, very well played from him to survive, and that's some resources being put into a Gangplank, and ultimately it didn't achieve anything. Yes, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because there's not really a high priority objective on the map, because top lane tower, yeah, you still want to be getting that. The Cassiopeia is going to be clearing very, very well, so it's going to be difficult to get that one down without killing her, and you need 2 or 3 members to do that. There's no other towers, outer towers left, so you're not going to be able to push deep in until you've got that vision that comes with the top tower. Baron, and you're not getting Baron at 19 minutes because it hasn't spawned. Dragon's not on the map, so you do have to kind of make these more speculative pick plays, and doing so is absolutely fine. You don't really expend too much. Most of your stuff will be back up by the time the next big fight comes down, and Lauai looking to place that sneaky Rift Herald over the wall to try and bring down this top tower. But Disco Dano is there, and being able to put a decent amount of damage. Might stop the charge before it even happens.
Yeah, it could do. It's actually focusing Disco Dano, but will make... Oh, nice hit onto the eye.
Yeah, very well played there from Cassiopeia. Kind of a little bit desperate from the Nautilus to drop that one down, but didn't have vision on the Cassiopeia at the time, so it was worth a punt. You don't get the gold coming through. You don't. Well, it's not even the gold from the place. You don't get the damage on the tower. Maybe able to take that tower, but you're not going to struggle to take the top tower too much, you've got to imagine. It's not the mid tower, which you've already broken through, so you can probably just send 1 or 2 up there when there's not someone clearing and just rush that one down. You're playing for other objectives at the moment, though. Baron has just spawned up. It's pretty dark on that side of the map for both teams, so don't be surprised if you see Mythos, especially moving in to that top side of the jungle and trying to get some deep vision in. NSG, very good defensive wards, but nothing offensive, and that's what Mythos has been doing much better than they have this game.
Well, they seem to be playing for this Baron objective anyway, because they've sent their top layer towards that bottom side. He has his teleport available if they want to rotate on over. Looks like they just want to establish their own vision around that objective, clear away some of the vision already established by NSG.
Yeah, look, you can't see NSG aren't just going to let them take Baron for free. They'll have an idea of what's going on with it, and most of their members are about. You've got teleport coming in from the Gangplank, you've got the global ultimate as well, so you're not going to see Mythos come in, sneak Baron without any kind of contest, and honestly, if you're doing Baron at this early stage, some people are going to be going pretty low, and NSG are able to contest that. They're not so far behind that they don't win fights where your Lucian, your Olaf might both be on half health when these ones start up, and Lawai now needs to be a bit careful. Going to be able to anchor away before the miasma comes down. Both teams decide to back away.
Yep. Good spider nodding there from Lawai, as 30 seconds until the next Drake will be spawning. It will be the Drake that's required for Mythos to get the Cloud Soul, so we'll help out with the ultimate cooldowns. So it will be really good for the Fizz in particular, as he wants to just keep spamming out the Chum of the Waters and get as much damage down as possible. 4 stacks on his Darksteel as well, but doesn't mean that actually they're gonna start off on the Baron. They don't know what's happening. They know what's happening. Actually, they have the Rift Skull Shrine.
They've got vision of it, but you know members are going to be moving down towards that dragon because it will give them soul. But now Diaku was on that top side, pops the World Ender. And we could see the fight here.
Yeah, that's a good flash with the Dredge Line, but the Miasma comes down. The ultimate gets a knock up onto 3. Goes forward with the Darkened Blade. The center shield is good, but Pereoslad is on the backside. He's doing so much damage. Takes out 1 so far, but he'll give up his life for it. Flash away from Disco Dano. They're just tearing through the front line into the back line. That's 2 so far. Make that 3 that goes down on the side of NSG. And they get the pressure. They can get the Baron.
The idea of the play was solid. We saw it last game as well. Yes, you know that the members of Mythos are going to be going down towards that dragon because you know they're going to be able to get a soul, so you can start up that Baron. But you were seen on the Rift Scuttle vision, and now you're going to take down Baron. It's not great for NSG. I like this kind of quick movement down towards the dragon to try and take it up, but I don't know if you're going to be able to do it fast enough. If there's a reset, you will be able to, but it's just the Jarvan and Cassiopeia moving down towards that bot wave to clear it out means that Jarvan might be in trouble. Probably gets there quick enough. We'll be able to take that one down with the smite. We'll be able to get out of that one. So that denies any kind of quick 1-2 punch with the Baron Dragon Soul, but ultimately, one Cloud Drake's not going to do very much for NSG. One Baron is going to do a lot for Mythos.
Yeah, it's Baron onto 4 members of their team as well. It's only the Fizz that doesn't have the Baron buff, and you're getting a Conciliation Cloud Drake? I really don't call that worth by any stretch of the imagination, and you're almost 6,000 gold behind your opponents, and you're looking for to scale, so it's going to be even harder for you to reach that mid, even late game point, because you have the Senna that looks to scale, you have the Cassiopeia and the GP that are looking to scale, and I don't think that the Tam Kench and the J4 can carry this early mid game point hard enough.
No, and getting the dragon was good. It was a good play from J4. It denies the soul. It gives you a little bit of bonuses, and honestly, it was better than giving it up. So, very, very well played there from NSG to know to go to that objective when things did go so sour, but at the same time, things did go sour. You started the Baron. Yes, again, decent idea, but doesn't come off, and now you've given Mythos such control of this game. Are they going to look for a pick, though?
Well, they do. They lock in the Cataclysm onto the Nautilus, though. He's not the pick that you want to go for, but the culling comes out. It does a decent amount of damage, but this is a 4 versus 2. Nautilus will just be cut down. Disco Dano find his first kill of the game, and it's a nice pick, but what will it get them?
Probably not all that much. They lose a tower in. They lose that tower in the top side for that play, because Forshaw and Diaku were up there grabbing that one, and yes, you do get the kill on the support. Lawai not going to have that Baron buff anymore, so you're down to 3 members who do have that, but ultimately, it's a good play, but you're losing more than you're gaining at that time, and yes, you do need to make that play. If there are 4 of you mid, you can catch someone, you can catch them 4v2, you have to do it, because that's the correct play, but ultimately, you don't really want to be giving people 3 towers up in your top side.
Yeah, it's not really an ideal thing to give up a tower, especially since, you know, they don't respawn like champions do, but Unknown Swede? I thought there was going to be a Chum of the Waters there from the Fizz, but decided to back away, don't have any vision of the jungle, so they don't know who's just waiting off to the side, potentially.
Yeah, they're maybe looking for the siege down onto this mid tower. Cracking this one open is obviously very, very nice. Getting towards that base a little bit more, and with the Rift, with the first Baron buff, we usually say, or a lot of casters say, that you want to be trying to break down everything outside the base.
Yeah. With
this first Baron, you want to be taking a dragon if it's up. You want to be taking all the towers that aren't in the base, and It was a very, very early Baron, as we see.
Oh, Dyaku, can he find the kill? Look at the healing. Barrier has to be used by Disco Dano. Will miss the second hit of the Darkened Blade, but he finds the kill.
I don't care what LS says. You need to get some anti-healing if that's happening to you, because it's pretty gross. And now the counter engage might be on though, but look at
Pocket off on the flank, finds the Chum of the Waters, but brings it in onto the Tahm Kench because of the Devour. He will find the kill onto the J4. Potato Slat will find the kill onto the Senna, but he has to try and trade tower aggro. He will manage to do it. He lands another Dredge line onto the Tahm Kench. He'll have to flash away, but he should be going down here. Actually goes golden just to trade tower aggro yet again. He's the one who took it from the auto attacks and the red buff. He will manage to find a couple of picks there.
Yeah, nice couple of picks. Do get the tower down as well, so another decent play from Mythos, and they're looking just dominant right now. You've got the 506 on the Lucian. This is in a lane where you weren't meant to be able to get all that much because you're playing one of the safest lanes in League of Legends. You're playing with Senna, you're playing with Tahm Kench. But they played the lane so well, and were able to rotate that into plays elsewhere. For sure, dominating in the macro sense. You've got Potet Salat, whose name I'm hating to say more and more because it keeps tripping me up, is doing so well onto this Fizz, and the question mark for me in the early game was Dyaku, but he's stepped up, and if he's able to 1v1 this Cassiopeia consistently, then you're off to the races. You're golden. Because at that point, you have to start sending 2, and that's a nice pick.
Yeah, we'll get the flag direct to safety, but you see, if you have to send your Cassiopeia to be that side lane presence, and Dyaku can 1v1 him, then, as you said, off to the races, because then there's no one at this point that can 1v1 him, potentially import a chicken, but if he's hit with a couple of Darkened Blades to the face, then as we've seen before, he's not having a good time of it.
No, and you can see now Mythos, they've got this dragon. Yes, it was delayed. NSG had to just give this one up, and it really sucks. You don't ever want to give up Soul without a contest, but there's just, you're not going to get there in time, and even if you did, you'd just get killed by the Fizz and the Nautilus who are sitting in that back bush. That will be the Soul, so you're going to have some movement speed off the back of using your ultimates as well as a little bit anyway. And for champions like Olaf, for champions like Nautilus, Belter, for champions like Aatrox even, they've got a team that really loves running fast when you use your ult.
Look how fast he's running away.
It's just walking as well.
They can't catch him.
He's just wandering away. He's like, don't mind me, lads, just on my way out, and just walks away. And Baron's going to be up pretty soon. You've got to imagine that this will be the fight, because if you give this one up on NSG, you lose the game. Straight up. Like, you don't... Yes, you might get slowly choked out, but you're not surviving in this League of Legends map, and the fight might be here, though.
Yeah, Disco Dano. That's a flash over the wall for the Darkened Blade. It's onto all spooks, though. Not the target that you want to be going for. A lot expended just to try and get the Devour. We'll manage to find it, but need to try and get something else here. But it's all on NSG to play. They have the Rift Shrine for a little bit of added vision. That's pretty much it as Miasma comes down. Olaf takes a lot of damage, but he's going to Ragnarok through. Imported Chicken will be devoured up. Disco Dano, now the target of Potato Salat, uses his shield. Barrier as well, but no one's going down in this extended fight. Actually, the Darkened Blade doing so much work. We'll find it thanks to the Lucian. Olaf also doing a lot of work in this fight. Olaf finds the double kill here. That's the triple.
That's
the ace.
That might not be the game in and of itself. You've got a decent push going down. Death time is maybe not that long, but it looks like they're going to push for it. Not going for the Baron, looking for the GG. Fortunately, needs to be a little careful as Laui brings up the minions. I don't think they'll be able to end this one in the next 15 seconds, but I could well be wrong. Very, very nice team fight there. Perfect re-engage from Mythos when the first team fight looked inconclusive, and it looks like they're going to go for the end. Yeah,
they're going to go try and do it anyway. 5 seconds until members of NSG are back up, and that looks like that is it. Mythos take down NSG.
That was one of the most decisive games we've seen tonight, if not the most decisive. Mythos looked so clean. They were in the lead from the first couple of minutes. They picked a draft that they knew what they wanted to do. They knew they had to be aggressive around that bot side because you've got the Lucian. They had to punish the Cassiopeia, and that's exactly what they did. They had the jungler coming in, burning those summoners early. They had the Lucian and the Nautilus winning the 2v2 by going onto that Tahm Kench, and they come out of that one with a win. A completely unknown roster asterisk they were known within certain circles, but
Certain circles.
as a group of, as the lay viewer, you hadn't heard of a lot of these players coming into this one, and they come in and they dismantle NSG, who honestly didn't really put up much of a fight.
I think it was a little bit based on the fact that they went for such a hyper-scaling team comp. They didn't have enough early game or mid game for it to actually stand up to the draft that just came out from Mythos. They had the early game that has decent scaling from the Lucian. They have the Fizz, which hits a decent early mid power spike. And then the Aatrox that can be pretty decent throughout the entire game. Then you have the Olaf for the early game that'll help just snowball any of the solo lanes or even the bot lane as well, and that's exactly what happened.
And we start looking through these stats as they're coming through, and the Gangplank did so much damage. A lot of damage was coming out of NSG, but at the end of the day, if you're not killing champions in teamfights, the amount of damage you do doesn't really matter. And there was so much CC coming out from the Nautilus, for sure, was quietly putting in what could be described as an MVP performance. Getting all these early objectives, and in teamfights, able to engage so well. And with that Cloud Soul, when he ulted, he was the fastest man alive. Like, just bombing it through fights. No one could stop him. You can't get onto him. He was slowing with his axes. And in the last team fight, huge amount of props has to go up to the Aatrox because of that re-engage with the Lucian as well, which was just game-winning. And reasonably quick game, Mythos looked like they were very well drilled. They knew exactly where they were needing to be. They were making the good decisive calls, and NSG kind of lacked that. When they were making these calls, they weren't always the best, and ultimately it cost them.
And even when they were on the same page, like when they went top lane to aggress onto the Aatrox, and then Fizz came in to try and help him out, yes, they were together, yes, they were on the same page, but they just aren't making these macro level calls, or decision making wasn't there for to actually get something that actually produced any effect on the game itself.
Yeah, and massive congratulations to Mythos for coming in and playing so well and getting their first win on the board of this 2020 UKEL spring season. We are going to be coming to you every week, same time, same place, hopefully a little not as late as this, but
yeah, a little quicker.
We had a couple of issues with some of the players, and obviously first time set up for some of the casters also means that we had a couple of hiccups, but production has been amazing as always, so shout out to Joe. I know everyone in chat has been loving his work, so
and on Twitter there's people raving about it.
It's just all around a good egg.
Such a good production.
Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter, just to help him out, get those big follower numbers, and he's going to be with us for the split as well, so it's going to be awesome to see how much amazing content we managed to get out of this one. But from myself, Viperun, from Dark Silk, thank you very much for jumping in, and to the Sergeant Doctor as well, who did some outstanding casting of their own. We're going to catch you next week, Monday, starting at 6 PM UK time. So, Doctor, do you want to leave us with any words of wisdom from the UKEL Week 1?
Words of wisdom? It would kind of be focus on the early game if you're a jungler, and try to draft a little bit of everything. At least a little bit of early game, otherwise you're just going to be rolled over like NSG were in that game. A little bit too much towards the scaling side, so early jungler, be proactive, you should be fine.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you